It's the JT Cho Show!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the JT Show. Today is the 15th of spooky season, aka October, and this is episode number 54 of the JT Show. I'm your host, JT. Welcome back. Now, I had promises. Sorry for your earbuds. I had promises of bringing Pratt Daddy, aka Prather, onto this episode. Conflict of schedule, so you're just gonna have to put up with me. So if you don't just like to hear me talk, you can just, I don't know, pause it, delete it. If you don't like me, no big deal. Just kidding. So I'm gonna cover some topics today. I just did a 24-hour stream. Boy, was it long. I did it from midnight Saturday, the 10th, I believe, and I did it. So it's Zero Dark 100 if you were in the military. So yeah, on the 10th, I did it from Zero Dark 100 to Zero Dark 100 the next day. Now, the very funny part about it was I played video games for 24 hours straight, a few breaks in between here and there. I still stayed on the stream. In between games, when the lobbies were loading, I would put my chicken tenders in the air fryer, and then I would just gobble those down. Quick meals. Didn't really want to get a lot of grease on my controller, so I would just eat, stuff it in my face, wipe off my hands, and then I would keep on going. Now, they say that I believe it. I'll have to Google it again. So the funny part about it was, I stayed hydrated. Energy drinks. I drank some Game Fuel, not a sponsor. But I had to Google how many calories do you burn playing video games? Now, the answer was approximately 61.8 calories. So if you get on your little calculator and you type in 61.8 times 24, that equals 1,483 calories. So the entire day, I burnt 1,400 calories just playing video games. So don't tell me that you can't get a good workout playing video games. All you have to do to make it worth it is play for 24 hours straight. But the first game that I beat was Limbo. Limbo's a side-scroller. Since it's spooky season, it is October, I decided that I was going to start it off with a nice power punch. I was going to play Limbo. Took me longer than I approximated. I had a schedule built, and here's what happened with the old schedule. Limbo took me 3 hours to beat. Really great game. Half the score out of 5. I'm going to give it a 4-2. Just because of how clean it is, the type of game it is. It's a side scroller. It's a puzzle game. Not a lot of no dialogue whatsoever. You kind of have to look up what the story's about, but it's ultimately you're in that limbo. If you know what limbo means, you're in that limbo of this world that you can never kind of get out of, and he's trying to find his sister in these scary woods, and there's giant spiders and other people with spears and other crazy insects, and it's a big puzzle game. It's not too tough to figure out altogether. Some of the puzzles were tough. I did have to look up 2, to be honest, so I guess I'm not a professional gamer. But overall, 4-2, great game. I really enjoyed it. Now, how do you fill a 24-hour day full of video games? Well, you make a schedule, and my schedule first was to beat Limbo, and then the next game I wanted to play was Metal Gear Solid: Sons of Liberty. Now, Snake Eater and Sons of Liberty hold near and dear to my heart. They battle back and forth from my favorite to my favorite, back and forth. But Snake Eater is a significant longer game by, I'd say, almost double. If you cruise through Sons of Liberty, you can beat it in 6 hours. I was going to try for 7.5, and I was going to have that take me up to noon. I was going to play from 3 a.m. to noon because not a whole lot of people watch Twitch at that time, especially my Twitch, by the way, which is twitch.tv/JTofJville. So if you like my podcast, head over, give me a follow. I almost have 30 people. I'm almost to 50, which is the first level for affiliate. So, help me out, help a brother out. But if you enjoy my podcast, I do talk about it a little bit there. I do play video games with the guests that I invite on the podcast. Team Cut is Cut's Twitch, so twitch.tv/Team Cut. Frank plays with us, Prather plays with us. So a lot of the people, if you enjoy our guest here on the show, they also do make a cameo on my Twitch. So I was going to play Metal Gear Solid, like I said. And when I started it up, for some reason on the Xbox, it does not have the licensing to stream it, which I didn't even look up why. I was kind of in panic mode of, oh shit, how do I fill 7 hours of context when I don't have planned for it? Because what I did is sometimes when you use Twitch on the Xbox, this is one of the reasons why eventually when I save up for a PC, I will have less troubles with this, but sometimes when you open up some of your sub menus on Twitch, while using Twitch, it'll freeze up the stream and it'll crash it. And I was trying to go as long as I could without a crash. I think I got up to 6.5, 7 hours before I got my first crash. So I had to fill that game. I played a little bit of Cuphead. I beat a level that I've never beaten before, but again, that game is infuriating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to talk right now when you're slurring your fucking words and you're sober because it's still Sober October. Now, I had to fill that void, so I started playing some ranked with some randos. On Apex, I actually had a couple decent games, over 1,000 damage easy. I've really started to improve on Apex, but I have to give a big shout out to Gary, Real Fake Gary on Xbox, one of my near and dear friends. He hit me up and he's like, hey man, I didn't know about your stream. We have very different schedules. I sometimes know when he's not available and when he's available. It happens back and forth. We each get caught up in our own lives. Mine's been extremely busy, extremely stressful recently. Work, things at home building projects. So I apologize for not. I thought we might have mentioned it around him, or at least to him, or at least in a couple of our group chats, but I don't ever remember directly mentioning it to him 1v1. So he said, hey man, I got no obligations on Saturday. Can I, not can I game with you? He said, I would like to game with you. And I said, dude, that saves my ass. So instead of having to find content from 3 a.m. to noon, I essentially just had to find content until Gary got on. So I decided to play a little bit of multiplayer, play a little bit of Apex, play a little bit of Call of Duty, and then Gary got on, and we started winning in duos. We won, I think, approximately 5 games of Apex that day, which was sick. Good positioning, good playing duos. We had a great time. We played some 2v2s on Call of Duty. We didn't play any Warzone. We played some Rocket League, some hoops. We looked at some other games that were available on Xbox, but realistically, we didn't really have that much time to look for it, so we essentially just chalked it up as let's just keep playing these games. And Gary filled almost my entire whole afternoon up playing with somebody else. And when you stream and you either have hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands or thousands, or hey, in my book, I appreciate the 5 people who interact with me on a weekly basis. I have people that ask me questions, who comment on games. A good steady flow of people help you stream because you don't always have to come up with all the content yourself. So big shout out to Gary, really helped me on my 24-hour stream. He got off to go take care of some of his own business because we played video games all day, and the hardest stretch for me was probably starting about I'd say 3 or 4 p.m. In the afternoon. I didn't really depend on any caffeine until about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I was drinking some teas, which did have a little bit of caffeine, but I didn't have my first game feel till the afternoon. And I had my last game feel at 11 p.m. because I said, hey, you got to send her off. Let's send her off strong. So let's just drink the second game feel of the day. I got the sugar-free kind. I didn't want to, started getting chunky because I'm drinking all these sugary drinks. Because I stay away from them sugary drinks. Gave up pop a while back, but yeah, probably 3 or 4 p.m. was the hardest time because at that point you've been streaming for 13 to 14 hours in a row and you've still got uh, math. You've still got at least 10 more hours to go when you've been streaming for 14 straight hours, aka 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So I didn't really play any other bigger stories than playing Limbo, but I fell in love with Apex all over again. That was one of the best things that I liked about it. I only played Jump Force for a little bit just because other people got on. People kept commenting. Big shout out to Cut, Sophie for logging in, watching. Cut. I wish Cut could have been there. Obligations happen. It was supposed to be a two-person stream where we're going to have objectives like Apex wins, this type of win, Warzone win. We were going to do like essentially getting wins in Rocket, getting wins in Apex, getting wins in Modern Warfare, just continually trying to accomplish achievements. We're going to play a little bit of single player games with at the same time, like, hey, we've been playing multiplayer games for this long of a time. Let's take a break and play single player games. But it ended up being adjusting the schedule last minute and then live during the stream having to just scrap the schedule and go all over again. Now, I will say the game Spellbreak, first day that I played Spellbreak, which was the last game that I finished it up on, it's completely changed for me. The first day, 10 wins, killing it, destroying it, having a great time. Now it's people have really mastered the craft. One of the problems with not being a full-time streamer and my skill level currently is that I can't focus on one game, or I can't focus a lot of my playing on I play when I can, and I still play a lot, but professional streamers, they stream every single day. And like for instance, Nick Merckx, he plays Call of Duty, Warzone, almost the entire day, and he'll take a break, plays a little bit of Fall Guys there, and then on his off time, he unlocks all the guns. If I wanted to commit to a single game and be very good at that single game, I think at this point in my career, LOL, life, it would be Apex, but I like all sorts of games. I just started Hollow Knight, so if you want to see part one, it's about 2 hours. I know, 2 hours. But, that's going to be on Twitch until it expires. And I like side scrollers, so it's another side scroller game, very clean, nice music. I got a little frustrated at the end. I was playing it, I was dying to the same boss. I think I died 4 or 5 times before I beat her. But so far, it's a very clean and good game, but it's only going to get better with your abilities, because once you start mashing all your abilities together is when you can really start rolling in that game, and that's just my guess up to now. But for the first 2 hours, it's a very enjoyable game. I'm having a lot of fun with that. This whole podcast, we're just talking about gaming right now. Hopefully you enjoy video games. Hopefully you enjoy this podcast. But Spellbreak, by the way, we're gonna bring it back. We got off topic, okay? We were over here, and we're gonna bring it back over here. So, Spellbreak, though, I'm getting murdered on. I have to re-evaluate my classes and re-evaluate my gameplay. Now, we're still getting kills here and there and taking out a squad every now and then, but we're not utterly dominating like we used to. And that sucked because I just thought, hey, I'm really good at a game for once. Like, yeah, I'm good at a video game. And then, bam, I got my ass kicked. Bam, I got my ass kicked. And there's, I'm level 12, 13 maybe, and I'm getting slaughtered by 30s and 34s. And excuses are like assholes, I know, but I'm just getting utterly dominated in that game now. It's completely changed. A couple theories that Frank and I bounced around. Maybe it's the weekend. Maybe people have had more time to practice. I don't know the exact answer to that, but my skill level is not par anymore. It's subpar. And Spellbreak, kind of disheartening, but at the same time, I don't play it enough. I don't commit to it, and that's the overall problem with playing as many games as I did. I had one friend ask me. He's like, how do you he's like, how are you moderately decent at most of these games? Because the controls like switch, and every now and then when you watch the stream, I'll tag things wrong and use the special because I'm using the wrong bumpers. But overall, um, I don't know. I'm just a gamer. I like variety. I like to change it up. I like to play as many video games as I can. I'm 30 years old, single. Wink, wink, ladies. But that's wink, wink. But anyways, playing while you can. I'm still active. I still go out and hang out with friends. I'm not a complete loner. LOL. Help. No, I'm just joking. But you know, play them while you can, because when you're in a relationship, you gotta like go to the pumpkin patch and take pictures with pumpkins and chicks, and you're just like, gosh, I'd just rather be, in the gulag with my bros instead of doing this nonsense. Um, but overall, hopefully, I do get more Twitch followers. Hopefully, I can build my brand because, again, the stand-up comedy is el numero uno on the board. But again, I'm a redshirt freshman right now because of COVID. I really need to master that craft. I know I talk about it a lot, but there's only so much I can do at the current moment. There's a lot of hot young New York. Not like Haley's pretty sexy, but there's like a lot of like hot upcoming New York comics right now that are sidelined as well, and they're way above my class. I'm a novice, and they're like they're not even masters yet because the masters are like like Dave Chappelle would be like an S plus, okay, and I would be a D minus, maybe even an E, because that's just how good he is. But there's these new and upcoming comics in New York, Tim Dillon for one, that are really starting to gain an audience, really starting to build their following. And eventually that's what I hope to do. Number two, this podcast. I love doing the podcast. I like it more when I bring my friends on here, but again, conflicts of schedule. I have no issues doing it by myself. I just feel like you, the listener, gets chipped out because you're like, dude, this guy just shut the fuck up. But I do have fun doing it. And then number three is twitching, because essentially, if I could build the perfect schedule for myself, like if I could like make the money that I make right now, but I could do what I wanted to, I would like to stream 5 days a week, shoot podcasts twice a week, and stand-up comedy. Essentially, after like stream during the day, stand-up comedy at night, podcast in between, and then just make a living off of that. And that's the dream. But you gotta put in the work to make it. And so far, I haven't put in as much work as I should have. So one day when the world opens back up, hopefully the stages open back up and I can win the hearts of the audience by telling them jokes and having them laugh and going from there. But here we are right now on the podcast, and this helps me communicate to my audience, and this helps me, practice talking, helps me bounce ideas off. I know I don't do bits here. It's not like I'm like, oh, so I'm at the store the other day. Like, I'm not doing any of that. I don't really believe in virtual comedy like that. There's a huge difference from being at a comedy show and watching a comedy on Netflix. But the only thing I can do is write, and write I shall. And that's what I'll say about it. Now, sticking with video games, last night I jumped the gun on a purchase. I've been thinking about it for a long, long time. I had the original Xbox Elite controller when it first came out, and I owned that puppy for almost 5 years total. Served me well. The grippers came off. The joysticks were loose. But boy, did I put a lot of hours on that controller. I wish there was some way where I could see how many hours that I put on that controller, but there's not. So I took some cash, went to Target, which is Target, and I got a Elite controller too. Now you can change the tension on the joysticks, which is like one of the number one factors for getting this controller. So you can make the joysticks as loose as you'd like and as tight as you'd like, and it really makes a hell of a lot of difference. The hairpin triggers have 3 settings apiece: normal, medium, and pretty heavy. Excuse me. And the other thing I like about it too is it doesn't use the micro USB charger. It uses like, I forget what it's called, the little round one, like the little oval shaped one. It can charge in the case, but it's just heavier, feels better in your hands. It's just nice. I don't care what you say about the PlayStation controller. This feels nice in your hands. I'm really glad I got it. It's kind of an expensive purchase, but it lasted me for 5 years. The old one did, and I'm going to take even better care of this one for the near and dear future. Haven't got a win with it on Apex yet, though, so I put a lot of pressure on myself to get it. An Apex win last night with Jeff and Cut, but it just didn't end up happening. But the Elite Series Controller 2, Elite 2, I don't know what the fuck you call it. Anyways, pretty nice controller, feels really great in your hands. If you have the money, I'd suggest going out and getting it. I can't comment on scuff or anything like that because I've never held one of those controllers. But something that's a Microsoft product, I think it's totally worth it. I had a guy from work who was like, I got it, it's great, I got it, it's great. And then I just kept hearing it and hearing it, and I was like, fine, dude, I'm finally going to jump that gun and go get it. So, I don't regret the decision. But overall, it's a pretty fantastic game. Now, some stressors in my life. Let's talk about my personal life here. Let's open up the book for you guys. But let me tell you the story of what happened. I worked Wednesday, Thursday last week, and coming off of work Friday, I had like a lukewarm shower. It wasn't too hot, and then like Saturday morning, well, Friday night, it was freezing. Friday night was the night before my 24-hour stream. I needed to shampoo my hair. I know it looks like super terrible and messy right now, but anyways, I had to shampoo the old hair, and the shower was freezing cold Friday night. During the 24-hour stream, in between some games, I tried to reset the pilot light, but it wasn't lighting. I tried to take the electronic thermal pile and change it out, but that wasn't the issue either. So I had to call a repairman for Monday. So he came out on Monday and he's like, hey, this is going to cost you $700 to replace your igniter, the labor, and your gas control knob, I think. And I was like, $700 fucking dollars, you know? $700. You can go buy a new water heater for $400 for what I need, 40-gallon tank. Now I went with a Rheem, not a sponsor. And I put in a water heater before, an electric water heater. So I was like, I don't think gas is that much different. I had to look up some YouTube videos, but overall, as long as you're safe about it, it wasn't too difficult of a switch. Now, I live in a modular home, okay? I love my modular home. A lot of space for the price. I like it a lot, okay? And what happened was, the people who installed this water heater in the closet that it sits in upstairs, what they did is they put the water heater in the closet and then they built the piping around it, which means if this is the water heater, they placed it, okay, and then they put the tubing in front of it so you have to like essentially uplift and go around it if you want to change out this water heater. What a bitch. So came off of a 12-hour shift on Tuesday morning. My dad came over. We bought a water heater, and we were pulling the old one out, and I busted a pipe. Now, when I busted this pipe, I ran downstairs to turn off one of the nozzles. Boom, busted another pipe. Oh, man. There she went. There goes my whole day. I had to wait up for a plumber to get here. The plumbing company that I went with did a great job. Didn't cost me too much out of pocket to get it fixed. Put in a new switch for the shutoff. He really went out of his way. He used the shop vac. We had to take out a 2x4 to take out the water heater. So a project that I was hoping to take maybe 2 hours at tops ended up taking 6 hours. It was terrible. But overall, it got done. I slept before work, and then yesterday was a very lazy day. I had plans for the afternoon, and then, yesterday we tried to get Prather on, but he got out of work late too. But, those are some of the stressors that go on behind the scenes, That's what it's like when you own your own house, I've been shooting some podcasts in Studio B because I like Studio B, but I'm re-renovating all the carpet downstairs, so there's like a weird echo that bounces off the walls. So I'm gonna have to either put a padding or something like that if I want to, continue to shoot in Studio B. But we're back up here in Studio A right now. We're, again, I'm trying to build that brand, build that studio, get that PC, set up those cameras, and really make it a podcast with lots of visuals. I want at least 2 cameras, so when I have a guest, three's what you really want. You want one on the guest, one on the host, and then one that shows everything. So I need a switchboard, but again, I'm not sponsored by anybody. This is all coming out of pocket. So everything that I've had to purchase myself, and until I get better at my craft and make more money, and then essentially can do those things, here we are. We just got a MacBook Air and a Yeti mic, which I really do like the Yeti mics a lot. There's nothing wrong with them, but eventually I hope to bring a really great show to you guys, if it goes far enough. We're on episode 54. I said I wanted to do 100, and I was going to reevaluate the format and see if it's not really worth my time, but like how to make it better. But so far, the process, we're at episode 54, and I've been having a really great time with it. The NBA series wrapped up. Fuck the Lakers. I really hope the Astros get beat. I really hope the Dodgers get beat. The Braves are playing the Dodgers in the NLCS. In the ALCS, the Astros are playing. Oh, fuck if I even know anymore. I know they beat the Oakland A's, but the Astros are playing. The Tampa Bay Rays. So I hope the Rays win. I got a couple homies who are Rays fans. I don't think Houston really deserves to be in the position they're in. I know, we didn't cheat, but I mean, you got a lot of cheaters in your team still. I feel like I won't stop slacking. I won't stop dissing Houston until they have the entire roster of players who were in on that cheating scandal off the team, which is probably going to be another 5 to 10 years at most. But it's too soon for them, They should get their worlds. I believe that they should get their World Series stripped. I know I've mentioned this before, and you should just not have a winner that year. I know that's weird to say, but that's just how I personally feel about it. So now that the NHL wrapped up, the NBA wrapped up, and the MLB is super close to wrapping up, we've got football. There's a lot of COVID cases, both in NFL. We're watching Tuesday Night Football. The NCAA football has a lot of issues. Nick Saban was reported to have COVID. That's fucking crazy. The Big Ten still hasn't even started playing yet, and cold weather's coming. I'm really scared for football because, it's weird that, the Patriots got to push back their game with Cam Newton, and so have other squads, but when predominant players have gotten COVID, it's tough. And especially for fantasy football, you have to dump your players and pick up players every day because you've got to fill your roster, You've got to be paying attention this year more than ever. COVID took the NBA season and made them have a bubble, shortened up the NHL season, shortened up the MLB season. Hopefully we can get these seasons back to normal. Football is the first normal season thus far during COVID, and we're only in week 6 now. And we're in week 6 now, and we don't know how COVID is going to affect it. We're still dealing with COVID. Can't believe it. It's still real. I gained some new followers on Twitch. One of his names was, well, I won't mention his name, but I was talking to, I do remember what it is. It's a character off of Parks and Rec, and he's a lookalike of that character off of Parks and Rec. But I gained a new follower, and he asked me, and he's like, "Are you political on your podcast?" And I was like, "Fuck no, okay? Go vote. Go vote. That's the most political I'll get. Either vote by mail or fucking vote in person. Just vote. If you want your opinion to be recorded, you vote. If you don't vote, stop your bitching, okay? I'm not going to endorse any candidates on here because, even if I felt super strong about one specific candidate, because I know who I want to vote for, but I don't I'm not like that passionate, you know? Like I there's no reason to argue with people. There's no reason to cry, scream. Like this is politics. How about, you live with the winner and then we work as a country to get things done because I'm not even going to point the fingers and say who's to blame here, but this is probably one of the most unproductive um, higher higher up government stalling, not helping each other, sabotaging everything that I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm only 30 years old, but the presidents that I've lived through and can remember, which is hardly any of Clinton. I've seen some Bush, Obama, and now we're on Trump. But it seems like we're never going to get anything done. And I tweeted the other day, I said it's really looking like Rome around here. But it's tough. It's tough. It's not tough for them. They're choosing to act the way they're acting. All of them, every single one of them. There's not one specific person to blame. But what I can say is that it's rough to be just an American citizen living through this because you're just like watching this every day. Like, I guess my issues don't matter. I guess whatever you guys are trying to get done and yelling at each other back and forth matter more. But you just got to keep on keeping on. You got to keep on grinding. You got to live those hard days out. You got to get your exercise in. You got to find your de-stressors. You got to find things that help you get through the day if you're feeling stressed. There's hotlines to call if you're too stressed about it. But overall, like, we can't have another whoever gets elected. Let's it's tough. It's the toughest thing, but we got to get through it. We got to get through it as a people of America, and we just got to keep on keeping on. But other than that, though, that's as political as I'll get because, again, I'm not here to be like the Republicans, the liberals, the conservatives, the leftists. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that. Okay, I'm just gonna keep doing me. Worry about my circle. Worry about my local community. Do what I can for my friends. Do what I can for my circle, and that's kind of how I keep my healthy lifestyle. I know this one's short. This is a short episode of the JT Show. I didn't plan on doing it by myself, but again, conflicts of schedules. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I talked about video games for like 25 minutes and kind of just rambled on, but hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Head on to twitch.tv, JTFJville. I'll be streaming later tonight. Shout out to all my fans that I have. Shout out to all my followers. I appreciate it. I'll be throwing more game clips up on YouTube. I just threw my first VR one that I did over at Jeff's house a while back. But producing more content, getting more things out there, that's what you got to do. So I appreciate every single person that listens to this. I have in Ghana, I've had some downloads. So if you're from Ghana, just leave a comment on my YouTube. Head on over to www.jtofjville.com. That's how you'll find my YouTube or Twitter, JTFJville, Instagram, JTFJville. Just let me know where you're listening from. Let me know if you want me to talk about any topics, anything you want to know. Leave some comments, Just, help me out. But other than that, though, it's a blessing to have as many viewers as I do, as little as it is. But for me, like, it makes me happy. Okay, it really does. I'm putting in the work slowly by slowly. I'm not paying anybody for fake viewers because that's fucking stupid. But for all the people that listen, I truly appreciate it. But thanks for listening to the JT Show. Prather will be on next week. We'll talk about hunting. We'll talk about his Arkansas football team. So signing out from the JT Show. I'm your host, JT. Have a beautiful rest of the week.